Well, it's Father's Day weekend and dads like chocolate, but they also like to know stuff. You can take your dad to a chocolate workshop this weekend. Geoseph Domenichiello is a chocolate sommelier. He runs chocolate tastings and workshops and hosts the Vancouver Chocolate Social Club. And he joins us now. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks so much for being here. Now, Joseph, a lot of us like chocolate, but I feel like you probably need to have a very deep appreciation to get involved to this extent. How did you get started?
So I actually grew up not really liking chocolate very much.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't until I saw a job ad for a chocolate sommelier over 10 years ago that sort of piqued my curiosity. So I went for the job out of curiosity, and tasting all that fine chocolate actually got me into chocolate.
And it give you a different depth of appreciation for it?
Exactly.
What exactly is a chocolate sommelier?
So similar to a wine sommelier, educating people about chocolate, how to taste chocolate, fine chocolate, all that sort of stuff.
We're so used to it, obviously, in its chocolate form, but I know you've brought a lot of examples here, and this one really caught my eye. It's juice?
Yes. So we're going to talk about the process of chocolate making from the pod to the bar.
Okay.
So about 10 to 15,000 years ago, humans first discovered the cacao pod. So chocolate comes from a fruit, and this is a wood model. So this is the fruit here. Yep. That's what it looks like. And I actually have some 100% cacao juice from repurposed pod. So I'm going to get you to try some of that.
Okay. I've never heard of cacao juice before.
Yes.
How common is it?
It's not very common. Usually people who grow it in the Southern Hemisphere are the ones that drink it or eat it. We don't usually get a chance to. What does that taste like?
Yeah, it's citrusy.
Citrusy,
it's sweet
fruity.
too. I wasn't expecting.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting
Naturally
that.
very sweet. That's just 100% juice. So you can see why humans first loved cacao. It was for the fruit. Somewhere along the lines, we don't know exactly when or where, but somebody discovered that they can use the seeds to make chocolate. So the process of making chocolate starts with harvesting the fruit, okay, and then they ferment it. So this is a mock of a fermentation of cacao.
Okay.
When it's fermenting, the seeds change at the molecular level, and it's starting to improve the flavor of the cacao. So here I have some seeds that haven't been roasted yet. I'm gonna give that a smell.
Sure.
What does that smell like?
It does smell like chocolate.
Yeah? Is it a little bit acidic as well?
It doesn't smell as sweet as you would expect chocolate to be,
No.
but you do have those hints of it, eh?
A little bit. So once they're fermented, they're dried, and then they're shipped off to places like Vancouver, New York, Paris, and they have to sort through the beans. So this is a bunch of garbage that you find in a sack of beans. You got debris, feathers, rocks, things like that. We want to get that out of the beans.
Okay.
Once we remove those, we roast them, and the roasting is what really develops that chocolate flavor. So I know when they're done, when the house smells like chocolate cake or brownies. That's when.
That's how you know it's done.
That's how you know.
It's very tempting, I imagine.
So I have two samples here, two different cocoa beans. The first one is a commercial grade cacao, so I'll give you a little sample of that.
Show that, yeah.
So try one of those. So this makes the bulk of chocolate in the world. So give that a sample. What does it taste like?
It's bitter.
It's bitter?
Very bitter. There's no sweetness in there, obviously.
Right. So now I'm going to give you a sample of a fine cacao from Brazil. So you can see the seeds are a lot smaller. So give that a little taste and tell me if you pick any differences between the two.
A little bit more refined. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yep. It's got more aroma to it. Is it as bitter as the first one?
No, it's not as bitter.
Exactly.
Not at all.
So bitter is a sign of a poor quality cacao. That's
Okay.
what most of the cacao that we use to make chocolate. So bean to bar makers, chocolate makers who require really high quality cacao go for this good quality cacao because of all the aromas in there.
Right.
Once they're roasted, we need to separate the shell from the seed. So there's a little shell around there. So we're gonna do a little demonstration here. These are the seeds that have been crushed with the shell and the nib together.
Okay.
So you're gonna slowly pour it into the bowl.
Yep.
And I'm gonna use a fan to blow away. You can raise it up a little higher. Yep. So you can see, there we go. So if you look on the table here, you'll see that there's a bunch of shells and all the heavy nibs actually fall
They fall through, I see,
into
okay,
there.
okay.
So that's winnowing. So that's the next step. After that, we have our shells, which are discarded.
Okay.
And then we have our nib. So the nib is just the kernel of the seed. This is what we use to make chocolate. So thousands of years ago, humans were using a table-like mortar and pestle.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give you a chance to grind that and smell it.
Old school style.
Yeah, so they would grind it and they would liquefy it and make chocolate that way. It's a lot of work.
It is, yeah.
So give it a smell now, see how that smells.
It's so aromatic, my goodness.
A lot more like chocolate. So what I have here is a chocolate refiner, and we actually have some chocolate that's been grinding for a few hours now, sort of liquefied. So I'm gonna get you to add a few more nibs in there.
Just put it straight in?
Yep, that's good. A little bit of that, there we go. That's good. Excellent. So this is essentially chocolate making. It's just cocoa nibs and a little bit of sugar. And this part here, not only does it reduce the particle size of the chocolate, but it also improves the flavor. So I have some other samples here for you. I have chocolate at day 1, day 2, and day 3. So this machine goes 24 hours for about 2 to 3, maybe 4 days. And the flavor changes because of that. So the first sample here is chocolate on day 1. So it's going to be a little bit gritty.
Yeah, a little bit chalky, definitely pretty gritty.
Yep. And this is chocolate from 48 hours. So it's been in the refiner for about 48 hours now.
Delicious, though, I should say.
is.
My God, that's good.
So this is made with a fine Honduran cacao. Okay. And now we have chocolate on the 3rd day.
And this looks a lot more like the chocolate.
Exactly.
you used to say.
Exactly. So taste that. Tell me, is there any difference between that flavor and the one
It's
before
so much more smooth than that first one. You really taste how gritty that first one is, and
Yep.
the final one, such a smooth finish.
And the flavor changes as well. So you're going to have a little sample of this fresh chocolate here, if you'd like. Stop the machine there.
And I just want to ask, I mean,
Yes.
look at the amount of work that goes into it. Do you think people who are, enjoy chocolate realize how much goes into the process?
They have no idea how
Yeah.
much work is involved in that.
Yeah.
Even today, the pods are still hand-picked from the trees. It's not mechanized.
That is delicious.
Some fresh Honduran chocolate there. And so what I have here are some other samples of some fine chocolate. Take that. So this is your regular chocolate chip.
Okay.
So remind yourself what that tastes like if you've forgotten.
Yep.
Okay.
Regular chocolate chip. Yep.
Regular
Sounds
chocolate
good.
chip. Now we're going to try this here. So this is a local chocolate maker, Kazama. It's a Philippine cacao. So notice if you can tell, is there any difference in the flavor there? Is it?
It's deeper. It's richer, and you still have that smooth texture.
It's got a bit more aroma to it. It's not just the cacao. Now this is a Italian one from Domori. Try that one.
I gotta say, this is right now the best job ever. I can't get enough of it. A tougher texture.
Flavor-wise,
That maybe tastes more up to speed of what I used to
Okay.
when it comes to chocolate.
it's a lot more intense, a lot more
Yeah,
roasted as
exactly.
well. So these are all just plain dark chocolates, but because of the type of cacao and how it was processed, they're all going to taste different. And so that's what I have here. I have developed this bean to bar chocolate compass, and it helps people sort of discover the flavor of chocolate. So a lot of people, I don't know if you're into wine at all, some people are hesitant when it comes to picking out those aromas,
Yep.
right? They're very intimidated by it. So this here is a guide to help you. It has a booklet, has a workbook inside, as well as some tasting tools such as breathing techniques, a flavor tree, to help you develop your skills.
That's fantastic. All of this has just been so fascinating. Joseph, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.